The Yellow Governor episode is deeply disturbing and incredibly important in regular show. At least for me, the first time I watched it on TV, I couldn't shake this feeling of unease. For those who don't know the premise, the guys are drinking some sodas and listening to the radio when an ad about the Yellow Governor contest appears. The typical last man standing wins the car deal. But instead of being like the traditional ones where you have to keep one hand on it, here you have to stay on top of a billboard. And this is where things get weird. It's not that this feels dangerous, it's how empty and washed out the atmosphere feels in this episode. When only our protagonists are left on the billboard, the Yellow Governor manipulates them separately to fight over the car, even though they had decided to share it. This argument gives him time to freeze them so his contest lasts forever. Thousands of years pass and they end up in a museum completely dedicated to them. And this contest, a moment frozen in time like some kind of perversion. In the Yellow Governor's words, ice cubes in the drink of his success. But we can ask ourselves if nobody ever looked for them. All of them had families. It's not like in other episodes where they time travel voluntarily. Here, time passed over them. Their families, thousands of years later, no longer exist. And an interesting detail is a kind of interview with Benson that's displayed in the museum. I always knew those guys were special. Clearly, he has no idea about any of this. We can think that the Yellow Governor manipulated him equally, along with their other friends and family, to make them believe this was voluntary, that now these guys are stars by their own choice. But what happens at the end is, what has unleashed the most theories over the years? They managed to travel back to the first day of the contest. And Rigby asks, hey, I'm not going to run into my old self, right? Mordecai mentions that there can't be more than one version of yourself at the same time, only to see that indeed there they were watching everything. What happened after that? A common thought is that this kind of event creates alternate timelines, paradoxes, and enormous catastrophes. For example, if they ran into themselves in this scene, it means that they themselves at the beginning of the episode before going to the contest also ran into themselves. Although it sounds confusing, that's how these kinds of theories about time work. The only truth is that this is the biggest mystery in a regular show without a doubt. And that's why the Yellow Governor episode, one that has gone so unnoticed throughout the entire series, is one of the most important in all of regular show.